Alright, this is the first video I'm doing for my fellow combat guys. So recently I took the semester off because I started going through some of the effects of trauma from combat, and I didn't really know what was happening. So I figured before things get out of hand, I should get fixed, just so I can preserve my future and come through for my family, and also the goals that I've set for the future. I'm a combat veteran, disabled veteran, and I decided to go back to school because I wanted to get a degree in biomechanical engineering, and it's doing well. But then I started experiencing burnout and just relapsing into some of the problems associated with PTSD and traumatic brain injury. I found out that when we went to combat, we walked around a lot in a high stressful environment, and once we got engaged in gunfights, we had an outlet of our stress. And what would happen is these chemicals would come in the body called dopamine, that it's basically the body's way of handling the cortisol that stress brings on. Cortisol is a chemical associated with stress. It's what your body produces when you're stressed out. And when you're stressed out, naturally you want to de-stress. So for us combat guys, the de-stress was returning rounds, firing rounds downrange, being in the thick of it, and fighting. I know it sounds strange that that'd be a way to relieve stress, but it was for us. So now you fast forward and we're no longer in the combat environment, and we're in an environment where we have to, where we're still stressed out because our reality was at any time we could lose our life. And so we're in situations to where we're highly stressed out, cortisol's building up, and I know if you're like me, you would create situations to where you would have to be in chaos just so you could get a dose of that dopamine, and afterwards you would apologize to the people that you hurt, but you were apologizing once the dopamine got in your system. So I was talking with my counselor, and I found out that I was running right back into the same situation, to where I was starting to get stressed out again. It just so happened that I had a class with a guy from the Middle East that had a name, Jihad, and he's the nicest guy ever. I don't think he's a terrorist or anything, but his name took me back to one gunfight we had where a religious leader was screaming Jihad over and over again from their mosque, and it was pretty bad gunfight, and all I can remember is just hearing jihad, 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 and gunshots in the streets. And so that started getting the stress levels up again, and I started reacting my normal way to stress. And I had to learn that it's okay to be stressed out. It's okay to deal with these feelings, because the majority of the population, they don't understand what we went through, but we have to have a coping mechanism. And my counselor at the vet center, he told me that one of the best ways to cope with those cortisol levels, to elicit the dopamine, is very intense cardiovascular exercise. So I took his advice, and I started training mixed martial arts on a level that I hadn't trained before, to where when I was done training, I just felt like stretching and actually going home and doing dishes or folding laundry and just being peaceful. But so this is the first video just to let you know that the method does work. There are other coping methods. Getting a service dog, because they're trained to recognize when the stress levels are raising. And You know, if you know any other coping mechanisms, feel free to share it, post it as a response to this video. Uh, Again, I could care less who wants to say that PTSD isn't real, because it's real. If you've been over there and experienced what me and my friends have experienced, you understand that it's real. So I hope this video helps out any of you warriors in a 2-4, or any of you other warriors that were out there and had to put rounds down range or serve in a combat environment. And if you have any other coping methods that really help the dopamine get released, help us fight off this cortisol buildup, let me know. Another reason having all this cortisol is bad is because eventually it can affect your heart. And I don't want to see any of my buddies or anyone that put on the uniform die of a heart attack because they didn't know how to handle their stress. All right, talk to you later. Bye.